I'd like to introduce our outgoing president of the chamber, Rick Doki. Rick?
Good evening. I'm Rick Doki with the Federal Companies, and it was truly an honor and a privilege to serve as the president of the Chamber Board in 2014. 2014 was a busy year for the East Peoria businesses. The levy district continued to expand with adding 10 or more new opportunities down there for service, dining, and there's also new construction underway for Chick-fil-A down across from the public safety building. The chamber also I also added 29 new members in 2014, joining over 400 existing members in the East Peoria and surrounding communities. We also hosted the first annual Flying Fish Tournament that was held at the riverfront, the Bass Pro Shop, and it was a great success, and another one, even bigger event will be planned for this July. City Hall is also making plans to move into the levy district down next to the library. And the Chamber's also continued their commitment to the community events such as the annual dinner tonight and Oktoberfest, the Terry Brewer Memorial Golf Tournament, the Business After Hours, Eggs and Issues, and Leadership School, as well as career events at the East Peoria High School. We'd like to thank all of our members for supporting the Chamber and the business community of East Peoria. Now I'd like to ask Jim Weber if he'd come forward. Jim's term is up, and he is leaving the board. We'd just like to thank him for his service for the last 3 years. Thank you. Congratulations. Now I'd like to introduce the 2015 Board of Directors. Cindy Reinhardt from Fond du Lac Banking Center, if you please stand. Mayor Mingus from the City of East Peoria. Dennis Triggs from Miller Hall and Triggs, and also tonight's speaker. Dr. Chuck Nagel from East Peoria Community High School. Gary Dinsberger from CEFCU. Glenn Birnbaum from Heinold Banwart. John Gardner Jr. from Oberlander Electric. Lance Lelm, Hart Technologies. Mark Joseph, Southside Bank. Rick Swan, East Peoria Chamber of Commerce. Rob Culp from Midwest Engineering. And Tim Williams from Caterpillar. And the 2015 executive officers, myself, past president. For 2015, our treasurer, Jim Goff, Bass Pro Shops. The secretary, Corey Rutherford from Paradise. The vice president, Kim LaHue with Cullinan Properties. And the president for 2015, Dr. Patrice Hess from the Illinois Central College.
And before Rick runs away, we want to thank him for his service for the presidency of the Chamber of Commerce in this past year. My first visit to East Peoria was as a student from Northwestern Illinois. My school competed in Bradley University's high school speech tournament in early December, and each year, part of our visit to the central Illinois area was to Winter Wonderland. Little did I know, several years later, I'd someday be volunteering for the festival and taking on the role of the president for the East Peoria Chamber of Commerce Board of Directors. I am humbled by and excited for this opportunity to continue to live and work in East Peoria and experience all East Peoria has to offer. I am grateful for the teamwork of the Chamber Board of Directors, the ambassadors, and staff, as we, as our mission states, provide leadership, service, and resources to our membership by supporting business growth and development, community activities, and civic improvement in our community. With just a glance from I-74, you can see East Peoria is thriving, and with a drive through the Levy District, you are presented with more dining and retail options than you can take in one day. New businesses continue to expand what our community has to offer, and businesses with long histories in East Peoria continue to excel in providing hospitality, resources, services, and products. The Chamber welcomes new members and gratefully acknowledges the legacies of our longtime members in East Peoria and throughout the surrounding communities. In 2015, we will see continued growth in our community as well as in the surrounding areas. Excitement of new construction will continue to rise as new business spaces go up and the new junior high school and city hall buildings are constructed. We will see positive influences as our neighbors in the Warehouse District, Caterpillar World Headquarters, and medical centers continue to remodel and repurpose. We'll continue to participate in and support rebuilding among our neighbors in Washington. Road improvements in and near Morton and Pekin will provide better access to developing community attractions and business centers. Together, we will add value to the East Peoria community and extend our strength through partnerships and collaborative efforts in our region. While the Chamber of Commerce's focused mission is on the business needs of our community, the work of the Chamber helps it to foster and improve the overall qualities of life and work in East Peoria and the surrounding communities. We hope you continue to engage with us through your membership and involvement in business after hours, Eggs and Issues, the Mayor's Prayer Breakfast, Community Leadership School, the Oktoberfest Business Expo, and the annual Terry Brewer Memorial Golf Outing. Bring colleagues, friends, and family members to your Chamber events. In addition to regular Chamber events, be sure to watch the calendar on our website for the dates of the farmers markets, the cruise-ins, the athletic events, and the second annual, as Rick mentioned, Flying Fish Festival. Leverage your Chamber membership by adding your events to the Chamber calendar and advertising your news and deals on the Chamber website. If you have ideas for Chamber events, please contact me, an ambassador, a board member, or a staff member. And stay in touch with Chamber News through our emails and our e-newsletters. If you're not receiving this communication, make sure that you contact the office to update your information. I look forward to this new year and the opportunity to serve you and the East Peoria Chamber of Commerce. In my opinion, one of the most important parts of our ambassador team, our chamber team, is the ambassadors group. This past year, we had co-chairs for the ambassador group. We would like to recognize for their service Amy Carlson from Embassy Suites, and Carrie Gabbert from Alzheimer's Association.
No, but it has been a complete honor to work with all of the ambassadors, and I know that Kyle and Jen are going to do a fabulous job filling the huge shoes that we have made for you. So best of luck to you, but we will be here for the whole next year to support you and all that the Chamber does. So thank you.
Again, as I mentioned, the Flying Fish Tournament, I hope you enjoyed that lobster. You know, some of you might have got a little leftovers from last year's tournament, but that's okay. All right. I'd like to introduce now Deb Fifield. Deb from SEFCU. Deb was our Ambassador of the Year last year, and we'll introduce this year's selection. The ambassadors are voted upon by the ambassadors themselves for a lot of different things, attendance and just all different criteria that they have. So again, it was a vote of the ambassadors. Deb?
Okay, I'm here to announce this year's winner, but I have to give a few hints first. This person has lived in East Peoria their whole life, graduated from East Peoria Community High School several years ago, and married their high school sweetheart. Participated in the co-op program at East Peoria High School and received an award. This person was raised by a family that always has been and still is very dedicated to our East Peoria community with high priority for volunteerism and community involvement. This shows their dedication to attending chamber functions, meetings, ribbon cuttings, eggs and issues, and other chamber and community events. This person is a stickler for detail, resides in East Peoria with her husband of 33 years and their beautiful daughter Danielle and their third golden retriever Riley. She has been in business with her husband for the past 29 years, and their business is celebrating their 39th anniversary this year. Please help me congratulate Tammy Meischner with Liberty Termite and Pest Control.
I'm sitting there thinking, high school sweetheart, I've done that, and I've been 30. Oh my gosh, this is such an honor. My mom and my dad would be so thrilled to be here. We grew up with the chamber and just everything. The chamber has been everything in our family, and we're family-owned business, and that rocks. And I don't know, I'm so honored. I thank you so very much. I enjoy the chamber, the ambassador group. Kevin and I enjoyed, we joined in, oh, there's Danielle. But we joined in, my mom and Jan and Frank Bohr, for anybody that doesn't know, they were very involved with the chamber and their ambassadors, and then they've retired fully, and Kevin and I took over the business, and so then we felt we should get involved, and it's been a pleasure. I've enjoyed it, and the group's great, and thanks so much. I'm so honored. Thank you so much.
I was going to read this long bio tonight, but you don't want to hear me speak, and the gentleman that I'm going to introduce right now, it is a true honor to introduce this speaker. As I said, I could have read the bio to you, but there's just so many things this man's done, it truly wouldn't do justice. So it's been my pleasure and good fortune to know Dennis for over 40 years, even though I'm only 29. One of Dennis's first clients was the United Papermakers and Paperworkers Union at Bemis Bag, where my father was the union president. As my dad says now, who's 88, I'm glad we took a chance on that guy. And so I think they did very well with that. So, and by the way, when they would meet at Dennis's first office, when he became one of the partners, it was a rejuvenated mortuary building. So he's came a long way in a few years. So again, we don't have enough time to describe what he has done for businesses, the municipalities, the schools, the charities, and most important, the citizens of this region and this whole area, not only East Peoria, but the whole state and actually the world. He's a world traveler, so he's done a tremendous amount of things in his lifetime. So I will stop and welcome one of the kindest, most intelligent, caring individuals that I know, Dennis Triggs.
Well, good evening, everyone. A couple of months ago, Rick asked me to join the Chamber Board, as you saw tonight. Now, he knew that I was trying to cut back a little, to find more leisure time to read, maybe golf. But he said the Chamber Board only meets once a month, a couple hours on a Thursday afternoon. Hoping to know some of the Chamber Board members better, and knowing that the Chamber is important, that it's a vibrant organization, I somewhat reluctantly said yes. Several days later, Rick called me up and said, "Oh, by the way, you are the keynote speaker at our annual banquet." So much for a couple hours a month. I don't ever seem to learn. I called Rick at 4 o'clock this afternoon and said that, you know, Rick, I don't have anything to do tonight. I got tickets to the hockey game. You want to go? I was hoping he'd fall for it, but he didn't. The truth is that it is an honor to be asked to be your speaker. And I thank you, Rick, and the Chamber for this opportunity. Speaking at this event, however, is somewhat awkward, because many in the crowd are friends, and I work with many of you, and I work for many of you. I find it easier to present to strangers. If it doesn't go well, you just sort of get the heck out of Dodge. Yet, I have to say there is a certain warmth at being at this podium that I've never really experienced at any other podium, and probably never will. For you see, I was raised in East Peoria. I attended District 86 schools and East Peoria High School. In fact, it is difficult to refrain from sharing stories about these early years, but for many of you, it would seem like ancient history. Long ago, my children made it clear to me that they really didn't want to hear one more story about the 60s, when Judy and I were living in Washington, D.C., and we thought we were going to remake the world. Tonight, I'm going to share with you some personal observations about local government and citizenship, and about our national government and politics. And I have to tell you that something extraordinary happened at dinner tonight. I'm sitting there, and my goodness, the whole table conversation was about my speech. And I thought, well, I guess I can go home. They already got all this figured out. You know, that second part of it, talking about national government and politics, seems like a really foolhardy thing to do. We're all taught not to discuss politics and religion in polite company, right? Well, let me tell you something. When you're 70, you pretty much do whatever you want to do. Well, initially, I take a more traditional and safer approach, as I remind you of dramatic changes that have occurred in this community over the last 30+ years. For I had a ringside seat, and for someone whose professional career is focused on representing local governmental bodies, it has been gratifying to watch my hometown undergo a transformation. Town Center 2 in the nearby Ranny Public Safety Building sprang out of an area of deteriorating buildings, and as some of you will remember, brought retail services to East Peoria citizens that had not before existed in this town. Riverside Center, now that's Super Walmart, Lowe's, and a host of other retail operations and restaurants, replaced Wallace Station, a coal-powered generating plant that had been abandoned by Silco, now Ameren. Eastport, the finest marina on the Illinois River, and Harbor Point, a high-end residential and commercial complex, stand in what was nothing but a dump. Eastside Center was constructed above an abandoned gravel pit, which was kind of an extension of my boyhood backyard, and in hindsight, not a particularly safe playground. The Paradise Casino and this fine hotel where we gather tonight stands on what was nothing more than yet another place along the Illinois River to dispose of junk and garbage. The area where one finds the Embassy Suites and Conference Center, Granite City, Logan's, and Camp Street Crossing, and a whole host of other businesses was, for lack of a kinder term, seedy. Bass Pro sits on a closed landfill. And of course, the Levy District, with its green spaces, classy retail, spectacular new library, and other public amenities yet to be built, sits on a brownfield that was but a few years ago the least productive and most unsightly real estate of all, a scar in the middle of the city. Now look, I know that across the nation speakers are telling audiences at chamber functions like this that their particular community is a special place, and so they are. But I challenge anyone to point out a community in the state of Illinois or in the Midwest that has undergone the transformation that I have been privileged to watch up close in East Peoria. And there's more to the story. A proposition that I cannot prove, but I know to be true. Aside from the brick and mortar, at around the time of East Peoria's was celebrating a centennial, which in turn inspired the Festival of Lights, one could sense that something was happening. There was emerging a newfound esprit de corps, a can-do attitude, and greater pride in the community. This manifested itself in volunteerism and in the good work undertaken by persons such as those whose names you'll find in the program, the past recipients of the Citizen of the Year recognition. I mention no names tonight of those who have contributed to this civic awakening because there are too many, and I wouldn't know where to stop. This phenomenon makes me think of President George Herbert Walker Bush, metaphor of 1,000 points of light, referring to the people who care about their neighbors and who make their communities and therefore the country better. East Peoria has had them in abundance. East Peoria's most visible successes, that are the improvements to the physical landscape, can be attributed to good local government. Year in and year out, one administration to another, those persons who have governed have had vision and have subordinated any personal agenda to the common good. They have taken measured risk and have made hard decisions. I'm not speaking only of city government. The cooperation among the units of local government in East Peoria has been remarkable, unusual, and productive. Witness the new school facilities. But let me emphasize that one need not hold a position in government or serve on a board or even work through an organized not-for-profit in order to make a community stronger. Let's not forget Calvin Coolidge's declaration that the business of America is business. You out there, the business members of the chamber, large and small, sustain the community. There's nothing without your efforts and the individual contributions of both owners and employees to the community. Further, there is in the audience citizens who simply, because of their generous spirit, lifts us all up. Individuals like me who are often sober, serious, preoccupied, need those folks, love those folks. All of you are part of the fabric of civil society without which self-government does not work at any level. Now, I've just spent several minutes giving you reasons to celebrate East Peoria's recent history, a history of successes that I attribute to good government and citizen involvement. But what about tomorrow? What about tomorrow in East Peoria? And the more ominous question, what about tomorrow in the country? Surely it is dangerous for any community or for any country to rest on its laurels. I'm not going to speak of any specific challenge facing East Peoria because that's the prerogative of elected officials. They will identify the specific challenges and how the various units of local government need to refocus to meet those challenges. Nor am I going to prioritize the many challenges facing the country, because you would then automatically read into my comments that I harbor certain political biases, and that would prove distracting. Rather, I seek to convince you that whatever the challenges facing this community, or for that matter the country, they will only be met if you and I, the public, are engaged in a meaningful way. Just as you are proud of East Peoria, You and I are proud Americans. That is an immutable fact. But pause for a moment. In a larger sense, shouldn't we earn the right to be proud? If you were to hand me the keys to the largest yacht that has ever been docked at Eastport Marina, I would be thankful rather than proud. If I were to cross over the parking lot tonight and win at the roulette wheel, my state of mind would be happy, not proud. I would have simply been lucky. We should take more pride in our contributions and in our achievements than what is given to us without our own sacrifice. I happen to be born in Peoria St. Francis Hospital in Central Illinois in the United States of America. I am enormously thankful for that. Wherever I travel in the world, I am mindful that my greatest possession is this, my blue passport. It says I'm an American citizen and you will give me respect. That's what it says. Read it sometime from the Secretary of State's Department. But I had no influence over where I was born. I had no influence over to whom I was born. In his biography, the investment billionaire Warren Buffett, the Oracle of Omaha, arguably America's greatest capitalist, calls the accident of where we are born the lottery of the womb. The lottery of the womb. I like that. He believes that he and you all won the lottery because we're American citizens. Because we won the lottery of the womb, we enjoy the freedom of speech, the freedom of a religion, the freedom to petition our government, the freedom to assemble, the right to vote, the right to run for office, the right of movement. Warren Buffett and I like being in his company, and I suspect most of you were born to loving parents, were given support to pursue your dreams, and were handed a gift of public education, regardless of your gender. Like Warren, I believe that what matters is what we do with those freedoms and those opportunities, which we did not earn, but which were bequeathed to us. Now, some of you know that Judy and I are longtime supporters of the Peoria World Affairs Council, and that in an effort to enhance our understanding of other people and other cultures, we have traveled to destinations that, let me say, are not on everyone's bucket list. In the last 5 years, we spent time in South Africa, in China, in Cuba, and in the Islamic Republic of Iran. Visiting such places presents stark reminders of the freedoms and opportunities denied to most people in the world. Conversations in these countries are often both instructive and sad. Our guide in Iran, a very proud and extraordinarily well-educated Persian, told us cautiously and quietly while looking over his shoulder his longing to get rid of the bearded ones. By that he meant the clerics, the ayatollahs, and the likes of former President Ahmadinejad, whose policies suppressed our guide's liberties and his joy of life every day. During my first full night in Tehran, I needed a camera battery. My taxi driver implored me to bring Judy to his house so that we could meet his family and enjoy their hospitality. Although outside the taxi window there was a billboard that said, "Death to America." Like most Iranians, he is fond of Americans. It may be hard to understand, you'll just have to visit. Although he spoke little English and I speak no Farsi, he wanted to talk. He was eager to learn what it's like to live in a free country. On a rooftop during our last night in Havana, Cuba, I think 3 years ago, young artists told us of their furtive attempts to gain internet access so as to learn what is really going on in the world. And of course, when you're in Beijing, China, you visit Tiananmen Square, where the Chinese students were slaughtered for having engaged in peaceful protests. I share these experiences to underscore how lucky we are for having won the lottery of the womb. As winners, we do not meet our responsibilities simply by declaring that we are proud to be Americans. And to those persons who have sacrificed, our veterans, several of whom are in the audience, we owe more than a thank you for your service. Just to utter such words takes no effort, no commitment. We should honor them through our contributions, through our civilian service. As for East Peoria, I'm not too worried. Its residents and friends will step forward. There are countless avenues for strengthening this community, including, by the way, supporting the newly established East Peoria Community Foundation, which you'll hear more about in the future, will knock on your door. Now, I wish I could tell you tonight, I'm likewise not worried about America meeting its challenges. I would like to tell you that I believe the 21st century, like the 20th century, will be an American century. But our national government does not function well, and respectfully, neither does our state government. We are not experiencing good government, and I worry that our politics are plagued by a chronic case of partisanship. Allow me to share an historical note. I read in my spare time. That period of time from the adoption of our Constitution in 1787 to 1800 is referred to as the age of federalism. Remember that representative democracy was an experiment. The betting odds that America would remain a democracy were not very good. The Articles of Confederation had already failed. The prevailing intellectual thought was that this new form of government would not survive if there was to be factionalism. George Washington frequently warned that if people split into what was generally called factions, now we call them political parties, the new form of government would fail. There would be too much partisanship. Washington feared that in an atmosphere of rancor and contentiousness, persons would lose sight of the welfare of the country. People would vote according to faction with which they identified, and not for the best qualified candidate or for the best result for the country. Sound familiar? To Washington's great dismay, his brilliant Secretary of Treasury, Alexander Hamilton, and his equally brilliant Secretary of State, Thomas Jefferson, developed differing visions of the proper role of government in a republic. Leading up to the national election of 1792, competing newspapers sided with one faction or the other and viciously attacked the opposing faction. Sound familiar? Party politics was born. We now realize that party politics is inevitable. For the moment, however, Washington's fears seem justified. It is up to men and women of goodwill to refuse to allow partisanship to undermine the functioning of government. If you live in East Peoria, you should be thankful that your city election is nonpartisan. Of course, regardless of the form of local government, there are fewer issues in a local election. Generally, they're not nearly as complex nor as contentious as a national election. Generally, the issues are understood, but there's something more. Importantly, you probably know the candidates, or at least know somebody who knows the candidates personally. Think about it. The candidates live nearby. Even if you do not think too kindly of them, they're part of your community, and you do not demonize them. This, however, is not the environment in which national elections take place or in which we try to operate the federal government. We learn about candidates for national office from the media. We know that in a democracy we should be informed. We all know that. We learn it in civics. But let's be honest. We watch certain cable news programs. We read selected opinion columns, and we listen to certain radio talk shows, and we click on the matters on the internet that we're relatively sure will reinforce our preconceived notions, which will make us feel good rather than better informed about all the parameters of an issue. We seek to be understood rather than to understand. We all become self-righteous. And the surer we are of our position, the more likely we will demonize those politicians who hold differing views. We become inundated with sound bites designed to convince us that the other side is the devil incarnate. The irony is that most of us have friends who hold different political views than we do, and we don't usually conclude that our friends are evil. Terribly mistaken, but not evil. I am frankly making a plea here tonight to you, my friends, to push back against the tendency to demonize the opposition. I, like you, have strong, even passionately held views on the issues facing our nation. But I say to my Democratic friends that Republicans will not disappear from the face of the earth. And I say to my Republican friends, the Democrats will not disappear. And that is why democracy does not work without compromise. Does not work without compromise. It will take us, the members of the public, to improve the health of our political system. As I prepared these comments, it occurred to me that the best example of a politician who has brokered compromise and fought hard against casting the opposition as evil is our former Congressman, Ray LaHood. Whatever our party affiliation, we should acknowledge that he is admired on both sides of the aisle for his efforts to quell animosity between members of the two major parties. His acceptance of a position in the Obama cabinet is itself a lesson in how we should approach the relationship between parties. Well, it's already Saturday in Beijing, so shortly Judy will kiss our new grandson goodbye. He resides in China, and board a plane. When I pick her up at O'Hare tomorrow, I know exactly, precisely how the conversation will go. She will ask, how are Sammy, Emily, and Maya? And I will assure her that her grandchildren living here survived her absence. She will then ask, how did your speech go? And I will say, okay, I guess. A little too much of a lecture, not very entertaining, a little unorthodox, but honest. She'll say, well, I hope you didn't talk too long. That's all she really wanted to know anyway. With that certain admonishment stamped in my mind, I conclude with one last memory. I remember tonight standing in a small prison cell in Robben Island, a barren, rocky little island about 5 miles from the southern tip of the African continent, within sight of but across a choppy sea from Cape Town. This forlorn island is where Nelson Mandela spent 18 of 27 years of imprisonment. I absolutely marvel at the fact that when apartheid, institutionalized racial segregation finally died, and Mandela was freed and became president of the Union of South Africa, he sought no retribution from the government that had beaten him and had denied him his freedom during the prime of his life. Rather, he called for reconciliation. So it keeps going through my mind. How petty is it that our partisan Congress cannot even compromise and stop the damnable name-calling long enough to take care of the most fundamental business of governing? Sounds like I'm angry, doesn't it? You see, we won the lottery. Let's be thankful for the freedoms and opportunities that have been given to us. Let's earn the right to be proud by practicing good citizenship. Even if one has no interest in national politics, one can justify taking pride in America by giving the local community and by not contributing to the divisiveness that characterizes our current state of politics. We can do this, we must do this for our children, for our grandchildren. God bless you, and may we, through our actions, warrant God's continued blessing of this community and of this country. Thank you.
This is, you're a very humble fella, and you hate moments like this, but that's too bad tonight. Rick got you up here for more than just the speaker. I don't think anybody really realizes that everything you mentioned in your speech, as far as the developments of East Peoria, you masterminded. We couldn't have done it without you. You praised us for good government, but you kept us in the straight and narrow because there's many times when we would deviate. There's no one, I mean no one, who deserves this more than you. You truly have had more impact in the last 30 years on East Peoria and our community than anybody else. I read, in recognition of Dennis R. Triggs' dedicated service and love, I do mean love, for the city of East Peoria, we hereby proclaim him to be an honorary East Peoria citizen, presented January 23rd, 2015. Thank you, Dennis. It's the world, too, Dennis.
That's really neat, and humbly I say that I've received a few mementos from other occasions from other people, and I tell you simply that none of them mean as much to me as that. I love this community, and I'm extraordinarily fortunate that my professional life has given rise to the kinds of friendships that I've developed in this community. So thank you very much. It's very, very much appreciated, Dave.
Dennis, thank you very much. I don't think I misled you when I said he's one of the most intelligent, kindest people I've ever met. I embarrass him sometimes when I say he's the smartest man I know, and I say that truthfully. So, Dennis, again, thank you. All right, and before I get out of here, I don't want to forget this. I wanted to introduce Audrey Miller. Audrey's new with us. I think most of you know Audrey, but she's our newest associate in the office. Actually, my new boss, Pat, retired, so now I have a new boss. So, Pat, you gotta get up. Pat came back tonight to help us. And also, I want to thank my wife, Jan, and my granddaughter, Rhiannon, tonight for helping us tonight. So again, we wanted Rhiannon to work for her supper, so. She was a proud graduate of our leadership school this year and graduated from East Peoria High School. So again, very proud of her. So. All right. Well, I'd like to welcome right now. First of all, I'd like all the green company winners of the previous years to please stand. I know Caterpillar, Steve with Waste Management, federal companies. Are we missing anyone? Okay. Again. All right, it's my pleasure right now to introduce Dr. William Timone from Illinois Central College. ICC won the award last year, and he's going to present this year's winner.
We take the responsibilities associated with sustainability very seriously at ICC, so we are honored to win this award a year ago, and I'm honored to be here this evening to introduce this year's awardee. The products and services of this year's Green Company of the Year award meet a number of household and business needs. This company helps us protect, replace, repair, and recycle. By helping to protect some of our household and business goods, this organization helps us to avoid costly repairs and replacements. By servicing these goods, this company enables us to maintain effective operations. If repairs are needed, this company provides a timely and efficient repair service. By recycling, this organization helps to reduce waste in our landfills and stop harmful chemicals from contaminating our communities. Recycling also preserves our environment by decreasing the need for new raw materials. This company also provides consultation on compliance with federal, state, and municipal regulations. This independently owned and operated business was established by an expert with a lifelong passion for his field. We recognize this company tonight not only as a green company, but also as a positive addition to our growing and thriving East Peoria business community. This year, we recognize Bob Miller and Batteries Plus as the East Peoria Chamber of Commerce Green Company of the Year.
Thanks, sir. Appreciate it. Well, being green is good business as far as I'm concerned. It's good for the community. It's good for everybody. And I drive my associates nuts trying to get them to recycle and do all the right things for being green. Unfortunately, some people don't understand that being green costs money. And we get some pushback a lot of times on recycling products. We do the best we can to make it economical, to make it user-friendly, and everything else. And we're glad we're doing it. We enjoy serving the community. We enjoy serving the world, really, the earth. Thank you.
All right, I do have to share, Bob and I spent many years at Keystone together and a lot of meetings. Bob was a double E engineer and in charge of our engineering department at Keystone and did a fantastic job there, retired about the same time I did, and started Batteries Plus. So again, Bob, thank you for all you do. All right, I'd like to welcome back to the podium Rick Dokie from Federal Companies to present this year's winner of the Business of the Year Award.
Okay, this company started their business here in East Peoria about 8 years ago. They've been very supportive of the business community as a member of both the East Peoria and Peoria chambers. They've been very active in the East Peoria Chamber in the Ambassador Program. They've been very quick to help sponsor and or volunteer at many of the events that the chamber holds. And the owner has almost 30 years of experience in his field. Well, here's where I'll give it away for sure. But in most homes, pets are considered members of the family, not just pets. This company is known for being very compassionate towards their clients, both pet and owner. And they even have a live webcam so the owners can visit their family member while they're in their facility. Some of the customers have commented that we love coming here because we get the most information from the doctor and the staff of any veterinary clinic we'd ever been at before. And also that I had, my cat had an extra 18 months because of the wonderful care that they received from Dr. Ramirez and his entire staff. So please join me in congratulating Lakeview Veterinary Clinic and Dr. Ray Ramirez as the 2014 Business of the Year.
Thank you.
This is Kelly.
Thank you. I did not expect this in any way, shape, or form. Obviously, I'm not Ray Ramirez. That is my husband. He actually right now is in Decatur. He leads a men's conference for our church, and he is the executive director of that, and the conference is tomorrow, so he is there organizing that conference. So I don't know what to say, but thank you.
I have to tell you, some of the ambassador meetings when Dr. Ray's there, it is a blast. I mean, it is absolute fun. So if you ever get a chance to come, Deb, am I right? I mean, it's a great time. All right, we have one more award tonight. That's our Citizen of the Year. So with that, I'd like Cindy Reinhardt and Mrs. Evelyn Spender, the Queen of the City, and again, last year's recipient, to join us. For those of you that were here last year, Evelyn was a little under the weather, but she's back and feisty now, so we're ready to go. So.
Well, I'm happy to be here tonight under different circumstances than last year. You probably heard that my garage door and I got connected last year, and I was residing at Riverview, not on Riverview to Lac. And since I was using a walker, not doing very well at meals, and of course, I wasn't very presentable. 4 weeks in rehab, you know, hair and stuff. I just wasn't looking very presentable, so I felt I could not attend the annual dinner. But lots of scurrying behind the scenes, and unknown to me, plans were being made, even for my hair. Sneaky little person took care of that. My son came to my room one morning, I don't remember if it was the day before or the day of, and he said, "Mom, plan B. You are going because arrangements have been made for you to arrive after the meal, and there will be a seat for you at a table with your friends." So I made it. And I suppose every other person that's ever attended this event was doing what I was doing. I listened to the speaker. I acknowledged the awards that were given out, the Ambassador of the Year, the Businesses of the Year, and then I was wondering who could be the Citizen of the Year. Well, after Aunt Cindy made a few opening remarks, she said, and I quote, "I would be more comfortable if I could get down off the stage." And she started walking around the people in attendance, and I thought, well, that's a new twist, and it's rather sort of clever. All the while, she kept talking and revealing new clues. And with each new clue, I'm sure you all are doing that tonight too when you hear the clues, you'll wonder, who's it going to be? In each clue, you know, you sort of change your mind, and then you think of all these people in this room. Oh, there's so many things that you're all just alike, you know, so many similarities, like school, East Peoria resident, maybe occupation even. And I was doing this the whole time she was talking, until the final clue. And I heard her say, "This person is the treasurer of." And then she said, "the East Peoria Historical Society." Well, I looked at my son and said, "I'm the treasurer of the Historical Society." And then it dawned on me. Oh my goodness. I said to my son, "What is this? What's going on? What can I say?" Well, then I remembered, Cindy said, "I don't remember what I said." Well, I don't remember either, except I think it might have been, "Why me?" I think that was my reaction. But I did not make it to the podium last year to express my surprise and to say thank you, because I couldn't. So I'm doing it now. 1 year later, thank you very much. I said, who wouldn't be humbled, though, and honored to receive this award, Citizen of the Year? It was an experience like none other for me, and I shall always remember it and treasure it forever. So thank you again. But I do want to say, you know, when someone supports something, they don't do it because they must. They do it because they want to, they enjoy doing it, and they're thankful that they can do it. So don't forget that. Okay, our task tonight is to introduce you to the Citizen of the Year 2014. So your suspense is just about over, so we'll get going. Now, there are several in this room tonight who would be worthy recipients, I'm sure, but the committee had to select one person one nominee. This year, this recipient is a very deserving East Peorian. In fact, she's a lifelong resident of East Peoria, growing one of 6 children. Over the years, this person has been involved in many events and has been a true cheerleader for anything going on in East Peoria that makes East Peoria a better place to live. Okay, a few of these, if you'll permit me to read them, are Relay of Life, Festival of Lights, Fond du Lac Park District, Eastern Stars, First United Methodist Church, and an East Peoria Raider booster. It's safe to say this person loves the out of doors. It's always, it's always evident because there's always a smile on the face. It doesn't matter if they're just putzing around, working, or even chatting out in the front yard, backyard, a ball field, or maybe at a stadium. They know no stranger, make friends with everyone, no matter if you're young or old. I don't know, it's been said if this person has really ever grown up. They went through East Peoria School, and yes, they did graduate, but never seemed to cut ties from the school because every fall, they're back there year after year after year. You may not realize this evening, though, that we have present with us some royalty. Not because this person has wiped hundreds, maybe thousands of noses, applied so many Band-Aids that you can't even count, dried an endless number of tears of little cheeks, and calmed mothers that first time or just excited. And then there is 30 years spent relieving worried parents and grandparents by teaching their little ones to swim. Just a few short years ago, in her senior year of high school, she was the East Peoria Raiderette homecoming princess. And of course, along your side, there is always a chief. And her homecoming chief was there. And guess what? She married him. She married him. High school sweetheart, Terry, 50 years and they're still counting. They have 3 outstanding children, blessed with 3 grandchildren, and now 3 great-granddaughters. Family is the most important priority in this person's life, keeping her busy, but in her spare time, she could be found running a restaurant for 14 years, a devoted secretary to District 86 for 40 years, and basking in the sun, giving swimming lessons for 30 years. But she has not mastered yet how to be still. We know that as a hostess at the restaurant, and when people would come to the school and ask to see the principal or ask, where's the 2nd grade room, she would tell them where to go. And with her present employment as a receptionist with Fond du Lac Bank at the Clock Tower location, she continues to greet and direct people. It has been said that she gets paid to tell people where to go. She wears many hats and has many different names: Mom, Grandma, Babe, Grandma D, hostess with the mostest, not Dolores. No, you can't say Dolores. Okay, now it's time to add another title to this list. And I am excited and grateful. I am permitted to introduce to you a vivacious, compassionate lady, Dee Tucker, Citizen of the Year 2000.
you all so very much. I am not going to say much more than that because I will cry. So thank you, thank you. Definitely was a surprise.
I think, as you can see, Dee has a few friends and family. So quite a gathering. Great lady. Again, as she does it, I'd like to, again, recognize any of the businesses of the year. If they would please stand. I failed to do that. Businesses of the year prior. Anybody? Please. A compliment. And also, any past citizens of the year. Dave, I know. Mike, come on, please. Annie, Jim. Okay. Again, I want to thank everyone for being here. Again, because of you, we're here. And again, we appreciate the support, and we'll be looking forward to a great 2015, and enjoy the rest of the evening. Thank you.